The Ranger Report, yeah, the Ranger Report. If you want the inside scoop, listen to the Ranger Report. Oh, here we go!
This is the Ranger Report podcast. News, insights, predictions, interviews, and information about the Texas Rangers from the major leagues to the minor leagues. And now, here are your hosts, Ben Dieter and CJ Berryman.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ranger Report podcast on the Preferred Health Solutions online studio. Of course, we're part of the Fans First Sports Network, Dallas Sports Nation, and brought to you by Walton's. Walton's everything but the meat. I'm Ben Dieter. You can find me on Twitter at BDieter75.
What up, y'all? I'm back. It's Kane. You already know.
Kane's back for another episode. It's two in a row. CJ is dealing with some personal issues, which is cool. He's hit or miss on whether he can make it. So if you're a praying person, just be praying for him. It's nothing like horrendous. It's just something that he's having to deal with. So he's a little busy. So Kane's been gracious enough to fill in now 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row, man. I'm honored to be here. I feel like, I mean, you're basically part of the show at this point. Yeah, so. I mean, pretty much. I did interview Jared Sandler with you guys, and like, it's been like I first came on a long time ago.
Yeah, when we first started with Dallas Sports Nation 2 years ago, I think you were the first one we had on. So
I was like freshly 16 and a half at that point.
You were. Hey, look how far you've come.
Hey, man, we made it. All glory to God, made it though.
All the way, man. All the way through high school, and now you're headed to college. Look at you.
Heck yeah.
All right, well, let's start talking about the Rangers. I wanted to do, we usually start with our week in review. So we can't talk about the week without talking about the All-Star break. So the home run derby was a little bit disappointing for Adolis Garcia, but it was fun to watch overall.
It was a good home run derby, honestly. It was super fun to watch. Adley Rutschman hitting from both sides of the plate was insane.
Yeah.
And the Julio in the first round going crazy was insane. And then the final was good. I was like, that was close. Like, as soon as Vladdy hit first, I was like, ooh, like, this is going to come down close. This is the number that he got. But it was a really good home run derby.
Yeah, I'm not usually glued to the TV for the home run derby, but especially not after our Ranger was knocked out, after Adolis was knocked out. But I stayed with it, and I'm glad I did. It was fun to watch.
It was fun to watch, but I got to say, before this year, I was like, oh, the bracket format is really good. And now after this home run derby, I'm like, low key, they should go back to the outs format.
I agree. I like that. I like the outs format better myself. That was what Josh Hamilton when he hit 30 something home runs.
And last year, Corey Seager had the second most home runs out of anybody in the first round, but he got eliminated because he was going up against Julio, who had the first most home runs. So that was a little bit annoying. But I got to say also, man, we cannot have the players wearing their team jerseys in the home run derby and then those crappy all-star uniforms, the all-star game. We got to switch that back.
I did not. I mean, I'll be honest. I did not like them. We'll switch to the game. I did not like the uniforms at all.
No, I hated the uniforms. They were trash last year. I'm really strict on uniforms, and I don't like pants that aren't gray or white. I just don't. And so the City Connects are different. I definitely like those. But like the all-star uniforms were, ever since they switched to everybody wears the same uniforms, they've been trash. They need to switch back to that.
I agree. I liked it better when they all wore their own. But we had a record that hadn't been done, I believe, since 1939, or was it 1951, one team having 6 players in at the same time.
It was like a long time ago, the Cincinnati Reds.
It was even before I was born.
Yeah, it was well before I was born. But 6 players in at one time in the second inning, and for Nathan Eovaldi to be mic'd up during
that was awesome, man. That was so fun.
That was really, really fun. But
I felt kind of bad for him, though. It's got to be tough for a guy to be pitching and having to talk at the same time.
Yeah, that's tough. I tweeted out, I was like, my asthmatic self could never, like, I could barely even pitch, like, without dying of an asthma attack, and then talking and pitching at the same time. I could never. And he threw to score this inning. So
he did, yeah.
There's that.
And the batter could hear him on the last at bat, which was hilarious.
Was that? I think it was Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, Corbin Carroll was mic'd up, so he could hear him. So he's like, I guess I can't say what I'm going to throw.
Yeah, because before that, he was spilling it out when he was going to throw.
Oh, yeah, he was. He was like, you going to throw the slider here? He's like, yep.
And then Luis Ariz, obviously, with the knock against him. But
yeah.
I mean, that's who doesn't he get a hit against? But no, that was fun. And, 6 All-Stars, like, they obviously, none of the Rangers that were in starting got a hit, but like, it's the All-Star game. Like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Well, and it's just cool, that we were the team. Like, to see, after the 6 years we've had of utter, just disappointment, to see 6 players in at the same time was pretty awesome.
I remember like the 2018 season, I think it was. That was when I was like least involved in baseball because the Rangers were so bad. And like I would watch the All-Star game. Like the only All-Star was like Sin-Soo Choo, and he's like a reserve. And I'm like, bro, this is trash. But like have 6 All-Stars and just the promos, like when they did the commercial with like the coffee house and they had like the coffee order and it was all the Rangers was really cool. And when they were going on the flight and they were all pulling up, that commercial was really cool. So it was just cool to see like the publicity around it. And obviously those guys deserve it. So, I mean, it was.
And to hear the announcers in the first inning go, here's your all-star infield, or as Texas calls it, their infield.
Yeah. And then, like the best part, the introductions have always been my favorite part of the All-Star game ever since I was little, because that's when I started watching it. And to see the Rangers have so many All-Stars was really cool for me. Because like it reminded me a lot too of whenever in 2012 when they had so many All-Stars. I know I referenced this last time, but that was like I was so little when that happened. I was like dressing up in my uniform and acting like I was on the team in front of me every night. And so to see that, it was really cool. Like it kind of reminded me of like when I was little bit, and it was really awesome.
Oh, I did that this year. So
no, but it was cool though. And the game was good too. I mean,
yeah, it was a good game. It came down to the end and the National League pulled it out, which was fine. They haven't won in a long time, so good for them. But like I said, and it was fun overall. It was a good game. I
was thinking too a lot about how like, I feel like, a lot of people talk about how they don't like baseball, but I feel like maybe part of the reason is because like it's so much harder to write like those storybook endings. Like in basketball, you can hit a game-winning shot, but like baseball, like when Julio Rodriguez comes up to the plate in the All-Star game, hometown kid, like the chances that he hits a home run to win the game are like so incredibly slim. So like he walked until like it took away from like the moment. Or like I guess when Ohtani struck out Trout in the World Baseball Classic, it was still an iconic moment. But it's just I feel like that's kind of part of the reason that people don't like it. But I wish, why I bring that up is even though I'm a Ranger fan and I work for the Rangers, I wanted to see Julio Rodriguez hit a home run.
I did too.
Yeah, that would have been so cool, but nonetheless, still a great game.
Yeah, but that's funny because I was going to reference that Ohtani Trout thing. That was probably the biggest like moment in baseball because it was one of the best hitters in the game against one of the best pitchers in the game on the world stage. It was pretty awesome. The World Baseball Classic this year was better than any I remember.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got the pleasure of covering that, so it was awesome to cover. I mean, I really wanted to win super badly, but
I did too. Yeah,
they fell short, but it was great because Trout versus Ohtani. Like obviously this is the only time we're ever going to get to see that. And before the game even started, they were like, "What if Trout faced Ohtani?"
Yeah, I know.
The game online, and then it happened,
and then it happened.
What? Obviously disappointing, but
yeah, it was pretty awesome though.
That was super cool.
All right, let's switch gears to what just happened this weekend. The Rangers won all 3 games against Cleveland in 3 different ways. On Friday night, they were down 4-0 and then scored 12 unanswered runs. On Saturday, they won 2-0. And then today, they had a come from behind win at the end of the game to win, was it 6-5? So let's talk a little bit about that. On Friday night, I mean, for the first 5 innings, they looked awful. And then it seemed like they just woke up.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of stretches this weekend where I was like, gosh, like they're not having great at bats, like the majority of the game on Saturday and then the middle innings of the game today and then the beginning of the game on Friday. But, to the credit of this team, they're finding the big hits when they need to be. Whereas before the All-Star break, they were still hitting the ball. Like their hitting numbers were fine. They just weren't finding the big hit when they needed it. They're doing that now. Friday, obviously was a good win for this team to kind of get the ball rolling on the second half. To see the offense explode the way they did, kind of like have flashbacks of April and May was really nice. It was really nice to see. I mean, everybody was in on it. I can't remember who started on Friday. Was it?
Friday was it wasn't Heaney. It was
Well, I'm like blanking. I watched this game and I
did too, and I'm blanking too. Oh, John Gray.
Right. John Gray. I feel like I didn't remember.
Yeah, because they gave up the 2 home runs to the 2 brothers. Yeah,
you're right. He gave up the 2 home runs, but then that's why I was wondering that, because he settled in nicely, and we kind of saw the same with Perez today, where he gave up a couple runs early and settled in nicely. So John Gray, I thought, did fine. Bullpen was good. Bullpen was good all weekend. Yep. Good comeback win Friday night for sure. And
again, like I think I texted this to you, but to come back against the team that had the best bullpen in the first half, to score 6 or 7, and what was it, 7? I think 7 runs against them in the ending innings of that game. And then again today to score on that bullpen like they did. I mean, this team is once again looking well rested, after the All-Star break. It looks like they got rested, and maybe not hitting in the All-Star game was a good thing, because all of the All-Stars are pounding the ball right now.
Their hits. Yeah, no, to be able to do it against a bullpen like that is good, because you're going to have to do that against bullpens that are that good down the stretch. Yep. And so for them to just come out the way they did, and just like I said, to get the big hit when they needed it, but to consistently string, like, hitting is contagious. I know they say that a lot, but for us to see it this weekend, I thought was really nice. Really good showing for the offense, honestly. You don't have to score 13 runs every game to win. Sometimes you can score 2 and win. But really good showing for them this weekend. Bullpen was really good. I know you just referenced Friday, but I mean, I feel like the same kind of storylines were true throughout the weekend. Bullpen was good. Starting pitching held them in it, and the offense came up when they needed to.
Yeah, I mean, the team only gave up 9 runs in 3 games. It sounds like a lot, but they scored a whole lot more than that. So, and that's the thing, is almost all those runs were given up by starters, not by the bullpen.
Right. Yeah, the bullpen was really good. I mean, today Cody Bradford did an amazing job. I really think we're going to be seeing more of him down the stretch. Yep. He's been really, really good. Obviously, starting and coming in relief, he was good. Will Smith and Aroldis Chapman, like, man, that you have 2 closers essentially. Like, the bullpen is not very good, but for you to have 2 arms like that is really nice.
Well, yeah, and you transition straight into the next topic I wanted to talk about, was that we have an 8th and 9th inning that we can switch guys out depending on the situation, who can both close and who can both shut a team down in the 8th inning. So if we can get to the 8th inning with a lead at this point, I feel like we've got a much better shot of winning than we did a month ago.
Oh, 100% you do. Now that you have Chapman and you have Will Smith, and they're both throwing the ball, well right now, I think, to me, if I were Bruce Bochy, I think Chapman is more of my 1A closer, because he only goes 1 inning, whereas Will Smith can go multiple innings. And we saw that yesterday with how Bruce Bochy kind of played out the bullpen. He brought Smith in the 7th whenever I forget who was.
It was
Grant Anderson.
Anderson.
It was Grant Anderson. So he pitched the 7th, got 1 out, and then Will Smith got the rest of the outs in that inning and pitched the 8th inning, and then he passed it off to Chapman in the 9th. That's how I think the bullpen will be constructed the rest of the way. But you saw today, Chapman, he threw 2 days in a row. He threw Friday and Saturday, so it wasn't available today. Well, Will Smith came in and was able to get it done. And for him to throw an inning and 2/3 and then come back the next day and get the save is pretty huge. So I think
it is.
You really, once you can, and honestly, this team is going to make trades as far as bullpen goes.
Oh yeah.
So once you can solidify like the middle innings, like, it's pretty much, think of it as like a baton race. You just got to get the baton to Will Smith and Aroldis Chapman, and you can cross the finish line. And so once you get the guys that can help you get the baton to the back end, I think this bullpen, I really think that this bullpen isn't going to be as much of an issue as it's been.
Yeah, and I think once Horsey comes off the injured list, if he can pitch anything like he did before the injury, because obviously I think the injury he has hampered his last 2 outings where he did badly, but he was on fire before that. If he can go back anything like he is, then you pretty much have your 7th, 8th, and 9th taken care of.
Yeah, 100%. And I honestly maybe of the minority when I'm saying this, but I really do think that there's still some guys that can help you out back there. I think Grant Anderson can help you out still. Yeah. I'm still a believer in Brock Burke. I think, like you said, with Josh Sports coming back. So I really think, this team, this doesn't hinder them making additions. I think they're so to make additions. But what I'm saying is I really don't think this bullpen is as bad as people are really saying. And honestly, I may even be a little more concerned about the starting rotation right now than I am the bullpen.
Yeah, because Perez and Heaney, when he's on, he's fantastic.
Right.
When he's terrible.
Right now, we've really got to figure out what version of Martin Perez and Andrew Heaney we're going to get. And we've also got to figure out if Dane Dunning isn't going to be able to sustain what he's done throughout this season. So I honestly, I'm sitting here today and I may be more concerned about the starting rotation.
Yeah, because there is 3 question marks going forward in the rotation. Is
100%.
Which Heaney, which Perez, and if Dunning starts falling apart, what do you do? Because he's been one of your most consistent starters up till now. But I mean, can he sustain that for an entire season? I don't know, because he's never done something like this before.
Right. An entire 162 plus the playoffs. And I know we talked about this last time, but like, even like, you know, John Gray and Nathan Eovaldi haven't even done this in a Ranger uniform. So it's like, you really, I feel like that needs to be addressed, but both definitely do. But I honestly am sitting here a little more concerned about the rotation than I am.
Well, I think a frontline starter is something that they're going after and they're pursuing.
Oh yeah. 100%. I mean, look, the farm system is going to get a little bit, you know,
it's going to get
trade deadline. 100%. I think there's still guys that, no, I'm not saying an Ohtani trade is coming because it's
I don't think so.
But you're gonna have to pay. Stuff costs more at the trade deadline than it does in the offseason. And so you're gonna have to pay up if you want to go get a guy like Marcus Stroman, or you want to go package of Mitch Keller and David Bednar. Like, you're gonna have to pay up for that type of stuff. And so it's like the Rangers have plenty of help down there in the farm system. And so you've gotta improve your team now. You're in first place. You would, if the season ended today, you would have a bye as far as wild card round goes. So like once you get to playoffs, anything can happen. Phillies made a run last year. The Braves made a run the year before. And so it's like, you've got to do what you can to go get a ring. You know, obviously, like I was listening to 105 through the Fan yesterday, and I love how Jared Sandlin put it. This is year 0 of the Rangers title window, because their title window really wasn't supposed to open until next year. But if it opened a little bit early, go for it. And I think Chris Young is a go for it type of general manager.
And the reason I don't see Ohtani coming here during especially not in a trade, is like, I don't think the Rangers want to see Owen White, Evan Carter, Luis and Acuna. I don't think they want to see them all succeeding in an Angels uniform. So
Now, I haven't dug into Ohtani stuff super seriously. I know a lot of people have. I don't know that Chris Young, pulls the trigger on that because of that stuff, but essentially, like, it's a rental.
Yeah, unless he guarantees, unless when you get him, you sign him for another, 10 years or 8 years. Right. I wouldn't do it.
I really think he's going to end up on the West Coast in free agency, whether that's the Dodgers or the Giants, or maybe, the bright lights of New York City can pull him away. But I don't think the bright lights of Arlington, Texas will pull him away.
No, and from what I hear, he hates pitching in New York, so I don't know that he'd go there.
Yeah, I think he's going to end up on the West Coast, whether that's Seattle, whether that's the Dodgers, whether that's the Giants. I think he's going to end up somewhere on the West Coast. But, I mean, there's pros and cons to it, right? Like, you are trading for one of the best hitters in baseball and a frontline starter. All in one. But at the same time, this is the greatest player that's ever been traded, certainly in my lifetime. And so you're going to have to dig up the farm system. Like, I saw a Bleacher Report article the other day that said the Rangers would give up like Carter, Acuna, and Porter, I think it was. And I was like looking at that and I was like, I don't even know that's enough. And so you're really going to have to, the Angels, they just reported that the Angels are going to want multiple top 100 prospects. So that's like, just from a Rangers standpoint, that's like some combination of Evan Carter, Brock Porter, Sebastian Walcott, Luis Acuna. Those are your top 100 prospects. So if you're willing to part way with multiple of those guys, and personally, Evan Carter, I don't want to get rid of. Sebastian Walcott, I think, is the next shortstop after Corey Seager. And Owen White, I think, is your best pitching prospect right now. I wouldn't want to give away any of those guys.
Nope.
And so it's like, I know what people are going to say. People are going to listen to this and they're going to be like, Kane, you said the same thing with Juan Soto. You just don't want to give, like, now is not the time. And this type of player who is international players are so much different,
And here's my deal about the trading for Ohtani. We're not in a 1-year window. Like the Rangers, this isn't their only shot to win the World Series. Right. Like, we're in a 5 to 7 year window where we're going to be good. And so there's no need to rush out. And that's what I think. I don't think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't find a move they wanted and they stayed with what they had. Yeah. I mean, I would be a little disappointed, but I wouldn't be shocked.
I mean, this is year 0. So I think they will upgrade this team. I think trades are going to be done for sure. Yeah. But, I wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers, make some moves and it's like, it's not for the best chips that are available right now. Yeah. You don't want to tear up the farm system in year 0 of a rebuild, right?
Correct.
If you look at like that's again, like with the Ohtani thing, is like other teams that are facing more pressure to win now are more inclined to trade for Shohei Ohtani. He's not a controllable piece.
Nope.
And so it's like, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it would happen, and especially with the Rangers being in the same division as the Angels. Interdivision trading is just so hard.
Yes.
It's really unlikely, honestly. Fun to think about. But really,
it is fun to think about for sure, but I don't see it happening. Let's move on. The Rangers have a showdown with the number 1 team in baseball coming, or actually number 2 now. Atlanta has a better record now by 1 game or by half a game, I think. But Tampa Bay, best in the American League, 60-36, and the Rangers are 55-39. So they face off on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in Arlington. This ought to be a fantastic series. Right out of the gate, they have a tough test with McClanahan, who's 11-1 with a 2.53 ERA. And he's going against Dunning, who's 8-2 with a 2.84 ERA. This ought to be, if it works out like it should, this ought to be a low-scoring game and a really fun game to watch.
Yeah, I think for the Rays, it's crazy to think about. You just mentioned the Rays record. You just mentioned the fact that they're second in baseball. They've sucked recently. They've been really, really bad recently. And so that just kind of goes to show how phenomenal of a start they got out to. That was the greatest start I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
We're back in April. We're comparing them to all these teams that I haven't even heard of from the 1800s.
Yeah.
Like, who are the St. Louis Browns?
Yeah.
No, but
the Cleveland Spiders.
Yeah, I don't know who those people are. I think I could probably take any picture on the Cleveland Spiders deep, but I mean, they're still a good team. They're still a dangerous team with lots of good players. Obviously, Shane McClanahan is the best starter in baseball when healthy to me. And so you're facing him on Monday, but this is his first start off the IL since late June. And so, he may be limited as far as that goes. So you may catch a little bit of a break there. Obviously, Dane Dunning has a really tough test ahead of him with that Tampa lineup, which is so good. All the Rangers pitchers do. But I think with this being the first series out of the All-Star break, Bruce Bochy could kind of line up his rotation in the way that he wanted to. I think he really wanted to put Martin Perez pitching in this series and not the Tampa series because Tampa hit so well off of him last time.
Same with Andrew Heaney.
All right, same with Andrew Heaney. And so you're going with 3 righties and Dunning, Eovaldi, and Gray. So yeah, you've got a tough test ahead of you. Taj Bradley is pitching for Tampa on Tuesday. Really, really good young arm. And so it's going to be tough, but it's going to be fun. I'm excited because Tampa's coming here now. So our fans are going to get a chance to see this matchup that was so hyped up back in, when did we play them, in June or?
It was in May, I believe.
Late May. Yeah. So it's going to be good. I'm excited. I'll be out there on Tuesday working. So if you come see me, say what's up, take a picture, do whatever, all the things, and
get some brisket mac and cheese.
Heck yeah. Stuff fire. But yeah, it's going to be a great series. I'm excited, and y'all should be too.
No, I can see the Rangers coming out of it with 2 wins. I can see them winning the series. They 100%. Could sweep if everything goes perfect, but I have my doubts because Tampa just too good hitting. I think they're going to get to somebody at some point, so I think Eovaldi should win that game. And like you said, with McClanahan, depends how long they let him go and how good he looks coming off the IL. If the Rangers can get to McClanahan early, they could blow Tampa out in that game.
100%.
Yeah, but if McClanahan controls them, then they could have a little trouble if Dunning runs into any trouble whatsoever. So I think Rangers take 2 out of 3 in that series, and then after that, they have the Dodgers, who's another really good team coming up after that. So 3-game series this weekend with the Dodgers. It ought to be also very, very fun. I'm not working any of those because I didn't have time to do it, but anyway,
Saturday and Sunday.
Cool.
But for me, if there's one thing I hate in baseball predicting series and predicting games. It's just unpredictable with 162. But yeah, the Rangers are a good enough team to take both these series, 100%.
And the Dodgers are sitting right now at 53-38. They won't be.
The Dodgers have been playing really well lately. At the beginning of the season, the NL West was like, oh, shoot, like Arizona's up there. And the Dodgers have just been playing really well. Like, no, like we're still here. I'm excited to watch.
It'll be interesting to see Seager against the Dodgers, here in Arlington.
Yeah, I think this is his first time playing.
I think he will light it up against the Dodgers personally.
I think so, too. I mean,
he's been lighting it up agained everybody, so I don't see why it'd be any different.
Best shortstop in baseball, but there's a little extra motivation there for him to play well against, his old team. So he's going to be excited for that one. And, it's going to be a great series. I'm excited. I've never seen Mookie Betts in person, I don't think. So I'm excited to watch him play, and just Dodger games are always fun.
I have when he was with Boston. So
I gotcha. Yeah. But there are going to be a lot of Dodger fans in the building. So Ranger fans, y'all need to show out.
Yes. Well, that's going to be a great series. Like you said, I think it's going to be fantastic. It ought to be fun. And I mean, it's kind of like Semien. I would say it's kind of like Semien against Oakland, except that everyone hits well against Oakland. So I guess that's not really a good comparison.
That's
Hey, but they've come on at least a little bit. They're not, they're not on a record pace for the worst record in history anymore.
I got to say, I see a bunch of people flaming the A's. Why aren't y'all flaming the Royals? They're just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah, actually, the A's haven't been as bad as they started lately. I mean, they have 25 wins, which, when May started, it looked like they weren't going to get 25 wins on the season.
This was so funny. I saw the other day, I saw a TikTok of this guy, and he was at the A's game, and he was like, all right, I'm going to walk around till I find somebody wearing a jersey of a current A's player. And it took him so long. Like, he almost made it around the whole stadium.
Now, that's funny. That's really funny. I feel bad, but, the A's know what they are.
Every time we play the A's, I see A's fans, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. Wow. There are those?
Yeah, I didn't. I was like, I did not know they existed.
Yeah, I didn't either. No, but poor A's. They're I think they aren't statistically eliminated yet, but they're eliminated.
Yeah, and
they have 70 losses in July.
Yeah, that's crazy. And if you're the A's too, we've been doing the worst team gets the number one pick since the beginning of time. And the second that you're bad, we start a draft lottery.
Now they may not get the number one pick.
That is terrible. You missed out on Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens. Now you're going to miss out on whoever's out there next year.
Yep. Oh, speaking of that, I'm hearing good news on the signing of our number one draft pick.
Yeah. Wyatt Langford, man.
It sounds like Langford's going to sign. It sounds like the negotiations are going well, and he's going to sign.
And he's going to be the best prospect in the Rangers system the second that pen hits the paper.
Actually, I think they said he'll be number 2. I think they said Carter will still be.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Carter will still be above him, but he's going to be like a top.
Well, they say Langford will sit number 2 right now on the Rangers top 100. So,
but he's going to be like top 15, top something in baseball.
Yeah, he'll be in the top 100 right away in baseball.
Oh yeah,
so I still can't believe, man. We talked about that, but I can't believe he fell to number 4.
Dude, I know it was crazy. And I mean, you were hoping like you could get one of those big 4, big 5 guys. I know that Baseball America just put out their list of top 100 prospects. I tweeted about that the other day, but Sebastian Walcott actually made it. So that was nice to see.
That dude is tearing it up.
Okay, see, that's what I was referring to, because Baseball America had Langford over Carter. They had Langford at 11 and Carter at 12.
Oh, okay.
So obviously MLB.com is what everyone goes off of. So those haven't come out yet, but Baseball America is clearly high on him. And
just talking to some people, I heard that he'll be number 2 on the Rangers.
Right. Yeah. But man, I mean, you're getting a heck of a prospect.
All right, let's move on to our new segment that I know Kane's looking forward to doing. All right, so what I did is each week, where this new segment is going to be called, what did I call it? Let me go back and look at my notes. We're going to call it What the Tweet.
I'm so excited to be here for this. You told me about this. I don't know if it was off camera last time, but I'm so excited to be here for this.
So we're going to start this segment tonight. I'm going to take 3 of the most interesting tweets I saw this week about the Rangers, and we're going to vote on which one is the best / worst, however you want to put it. So I've got 3 this week. All of them happened during the first game, Cleveland and Texas, when Texas was down 4-0.
Oh, nice. Are you going to call them out, or now you're just going to read them?
No, I'm not going to call them out. I'm just going to read them. All right. So here's the first one. It's hard to believe this team was good in the first half. I'm not saying it was a fluke, maybe just a year early.
Okay. Yeah.
That one's not awful.
That's not that bad.
All right, here's the second one. This team is borderline impossible to watch.
Oh, impossible.
I don't want to hear it's July. I'm fed up with poor baseball, from the Rangers.
Nice. That's good.
That's a good one. And then my favorite one, this team is straight, but LMAO, WTF are the clowns doing?
Dude, is that a 12-year-old?
And that is before a 3-game sweep of the Cleveland Guardians.
Can you read the second one more time?
Yeah, this team is borderline impossible to watch. I don't want to hear it's July. I'm fed up with piss poor baseball from the Rangers.
I'm not gonna lie, I like that one just because you said impossible to watch. A team with 6 all-stars is impossible to watch.
Yeah, the team that and the third one was what I was going between, but I'm going to go with yours. So I think the borderline impossible to watch is going to win our first ever What the Tweet.
Is there a prize for this? Is there I
don't know. We got to come up with one. I also had an honorable mention. Someone sent directly to me that said this team is on full-fledged choke fest. Pathetic.
Nice.
That was an honorable mention.
A prize, like a Ranger Report merch or something. There's got to be a prize
for the winner of this coveted. I'm sure no one covets it at all, but dude, anyway, I thought it'd be fun. We'll start doing it each week.
I would go for that if I was not working.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. All right. So that is What the Tweet. We'll start that. We started it. So congratulations. I won't say your name, but congratulations on calling the Rangers impossible to watch. Right.
You know who you are.
Right before they swept the Cleveland. Yeah. If you listen, you know who you are. Right before you swept the Cleveland Indians. Good job. Good job. So, maybe slight overreaction, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit. No, actually, I think he's right on. Impossible.
Yeah, they're impossible to watch. I can't.
It's impossible for me to go to work every day.
I hate comebacks. They're terrible. I can't believe they're doing that.
Just quit.
All right. Well, that'll be it for this week. Thank you guys very much. Kane, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It's fun.
All right. See you later, bud.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Ranger Report podcast. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, and at therangerreport.com.